So, as a Laker fan whose formative years was during the 80s, I can say that some of my worst memories were witnessing the Lakers play the Boston Celtics and Larry Bird. Um, Larry Bird is one of the three scariest players that I have ever had to play or have my team play against. The other two, Michael Jordan and Steph Curry. Um, Larry Bird could bring his team back with a couple of threes, and this was during a time where no one else could do that. Like, no one was shooting threes like he was back in the early 80s. And it was devastating because that Celtics team, you could never quite put them away. So I remember like it was yesterday when Magic made the baby hook in 1987. The Celtics got the ball after that play, and I was just terrified. I was just thinking to myself, God, anybody but Larry Bird, and of course, he got the ball. I closed my eyes. I was certain it was going in. It didn't. But my certainty tells you just how scary Larry Bird was. Larry Bird played 13 seasons in the NBA, and he only played 70 games in 10 of those seasons. So you could say he played 10 full seasons in the NBA. He actually started his NBA career at 23. In those 10 seasons, Larry Bird, in my opinion, was the best player in the league for 5 of them. And in 1982, because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did not make the all-defense team, and Larry Bird does, Larry Bird takes over the distinction as being the best player in the league, and he keeps that distinction all the way through the 1986 season. So the 80s, you could more or less divide in half. Larry Bird with Magic Johnson taking over during the latter half of the decade. Larry was the highest scoring member of the all-defense team in 1982. And during the 1983 season, that distinction went to Moses Malone. That was the year of the 76ers, the 4-4-4 Sixers. I'm still going to go with Larry Bird as being the best player in the league in 1983. And the main reason is because Larry Bird was arguably the best offensive player in the league. In addition to being a great defender and, excellent rebounder, as great as Moses Malone. Moses Malone, arguably the greatest offensive rebounder in NBA history and one of the greatest rebounders. Well, Larry Bird averaged 11 rebounds a game that year. Okay? In addition to that, he averaged 6 assists. So, the point disparity is less than 1 point. I'm going to go with Larry Bird as the best offensive player and the best overall player in 1983, as well as 1984, 5 and 6. By the way, Larry Bird won the MVP 3 consecutive seasons, and he's one of only 2 players to do that. And no one's done that since. Larry Bird was a remarkable defender during this prime, but he did not make the all-defense team in 1985 and in 86. I'm still going to give Larry Bird the nod because, again, when you add up his points and his points and his assists, he was just the best player in the league. And this was before Magic's essentially taken over the team from Kareem. During that 6-year span, the Boston Celtics won 3 chips, and Larry Bird won 3 MVPs. I would put that span up against any other peak in NBA history. Winning is important to me, so you have to win. I would put that peak up against LeBron's prime, which would have been around 2012 to 2016, and in fact Kobe's prime. I think Larry Bird ranks very favorably against even Kobe's prime. So Larry Bird was the best player in the league from 1982 to 1986, and after that, actually, an interesting note, 1986, my criteria is the highest scoring member of the all-defense team. Like I told you, Larry didn't make the all-defense team in 1986, even though he won the MVP. His teammate actually did make the all-defense team, Kevin McHale. So by my criteria, Kevin McHale would have been the highest scoring member of the all-defense team. So it's at that point wherein common sense has to supervise the theory, the formula, if you will. We all know Larry Bird was a better player than Kevin McHale. And I can't really think of any compelling argument that would tell me that Kevin McHale was actually the best player on that team in 86. So, as it turns out, that team, in 1986, being arguably the greatest team in NBA history, 67 and 15, they sailed through the finals, beat the Rockets in the sailed through the playoffs. And beat the Rockets in the finals. Turns out that team had probably the best 2 players in the league at the time. So Larry Bird is the best player in the league for 5 years, and and therefore has to rank very, very high in my GOAT rankings, which I will release at some point in the future.